just had a lot of anxiety. Like there was some when I was like 8 years old, but it got worse and worse and worse when I got like 10 and 11. Around 11, it was like very bad, and due to the anxiety and stuff, I just couldn't handle anything at all. So over a few years, I became numb. I just didn't want to deal with anything. And around 13, I was And there's also like there's just a lack of awareness as well of what is going on. They always all of them kind of tie in together, but I'm just picking them apart a little bit. So many people are so unaware on how they actually feel. Like if you ask them, how does it really feel to be you? And they're like, like I need to know in detail how it feels to be you, and they have some idea, but they don't fully know. There's so many things going inside you that you have no awareness of, and what you don't have awareness of, you cannot quote unquote fix. You don't know what you don't know. So some of the people are just feeling like, some of the people don't even know that they're unhappy. They just don't have the awareness. They think like this is normal, and yeah, but they still have that feeling of like life could be better or something, but they don't have the awareness really fully. So that can also lead to depression, lack of awareness, or ignorance. Shaming yourself, society shaming yourself, society shaming you, and you shaming yourself as well. But you shaming yourself is even worse than society shaming yourself. Society shaming yourself is like just part one of getting to the bad place, and there's always the part two, which is you. And if you believe whatever they're saying, and you also feel guilty about having those parts or whatever, you are also shaming yourself, and you're self-attacking. And that's the actual poison, not other people attacking you, but you attacking yourself. You believe in them and attacking yourself. I will, of course, go into details on situations. But I stood still and I waited, I waited, I waited. It got intense, more intense, more intense, more intense. But after a while, it wasn't like it just like disappeared, and I was like back to whatever mode I was before I got triggered. It was more like this feeling itself, like it got warm, it dissolved, but it didn't go away. It dissolved into something else. It transformed into something else, and in that something else, I was more calm. I felt more confident, and I felt just more at ease with life. And whenever I got back into a similar situation, I would get triggered again, yes, but I knew how to deal with the problem better, and over time it got less intense and less intense with the same situation that would trigger me, to the point where it did not trigger me whatsoever anymore. I just allowed it to enter my body and just go through with it and trust my own feelings and where they would land. And each time I did that, it got so much better all the time. And then I thought, like, what if I just purposely triggered myself to get like very intense feelings? Because sometimes when you just are on your own, sometimes they do come up, but when you think about it, but it's much easier if you just trigger yourself, knowing that you will get these super intense feelings. And of course, you don't want to do that. Like, you should do that, but your body is saying, like, if you do that, you will die, and your body is literally putting a block on you. Sometimes it's better to have a friend or something that will push you to that situation, because your body will literally freeze and not do it because it thinks it's about to die, but you will of course never die. But if you have the courage to do it alone as well, and you can do it, that's insane. That's incredible. So proud of you. But it's very good to have a friend or something. And with a friend, you can also, like, how to say, sometimes it's so intense that you don't want to even say to your friend what could trigger you. Like, it's so intense you don't want to even go there, so you lie about something. So that's why your friend can sometimes maybe help with certain situations where it's getting where they're doing something so insane that triggers you so much that you would never even thought of it. And it's myself to very high levels, and that's kind of what I did. Sometimes the feelings are so intense that you just gotta wait it out a bit, like go with the easier ones and get to the higher ones, the harder ones later. Like I did that. You don't wanna just like go homeless and like sell everything and you're like, oh my god, my life is ruined, but at least I'm feeling super intense emotions. Like, of course, do not do that. Although, respect. But like, it's not even 100% certain that you will actually, actually something will happen. So, do be mindful about it. Yeah, I was just doing it again and again and again, and I was not throwing emotions away. I was just welcoming them. Anything, even anger, sadness, whatever, jealousy, anything, being shameful, like feeling shame or guilt, anything, any feeling whatsoever. I welcomed it all, and I just began to feel more because I was always so numb. And by triggering myself and seeing in certain situations where something would come up, because even if you're depressed, there will be some areas where you will still feel like something will get triggered. Even if you're depressed and you feel like you're numb and you feel like nothing is worth anything, it is still a feeling. It's like a number version of it, but it is still something. So it's important to have awareness of how you feel. And there's so many people that will not get anything that I have said. They're like, oh my god, I'm always focusing on how I'm feeling, and I'm like feeling so terrible all the time. Like, there is no point. The thing is that sure, you're focusing on it, but you're still being shameful of it. You're like, fuck this, I don't want to feel this, and that's exactly the attitude that is not allowing you to transform the feeling. You're being patronizing and you're being passive aggressive towards the feeling. You cannot see its benefit. You must understand that this feeling itself, this intense feeling, or any feeling that is going on, like in general, any movement in your body, that is your friend, and that friend will stay with you forever. It will transform into another feeling. It will not go away. You need this. You cannot be like, oh, why is it not transforming? You need this. You need it. Don't be a bitch. So I just began to feel more alive. I began to have more energy in general. I became a bit more like social and stuff. I felt like my personality was slowly coming back. Of course, I still have so much shit here, but I don't feel numb anymore. Like I still feel intense stuff, but and sometimes I do have a hard time with them, and I go back to my old patterns of not wanting to deal with them. But I'm still learning, day by day, and it's just the relationship I have with myself is so much better than what it used to be. I used to hate myself so much, like so much, everything. I thought I was the biggest loser in the entire world. I thought I was the most pathetic person in the entire world, and I was like, I always had to like hide it somehow. Like I was very ashamed of myself, and just I have to understand that all the feelings are actually your friend, and you need to have courage and faith. You need to have faith in those feelings, and you do need to become friends with them, and just that's why meditating is so good. You just meditate on those feelings and you become friends with them. The meditating is about becoming friends with those feelings and not like punching them away or something. You stagnated. It will suck the joy and life juice out of all of your body, and you will become this numb version of yourself that has no joy or no spark. So if you welcome it all and there's no shame, the life juice slowly but surely comes back. It might take some time, but slowly it will just, maybe slowly, gradually, it'll get better if you do the things that I have said. Of course, there are many setbacks. Don't get discouraged. Some people might do this and they're like, and they go back to their old patterns immediately when something comes up. I have that sometimes when something so crazy comes up. I immediately I don't even think. It's just so automatic. I go back to my old patterns of not wanting to deal with it, and it's okay. It's a work in progress. So yeah, I'm still not meditating. I don't know. You know what? Right now it's 16th. And my post is on 17th. On the 20th, I will start meditating every day for an hour or 30 minutes. Every day. professional. Like I used to be a professional of having suicidal thoughts, and I definitely knew how suffocating it can be. And I have one time I was so close to doing it, but then I thought that's crazy. I would never do it, but I was so close one time. And I understand how suffocating it can be, like a punch in the gut at all times. It can be extremely painful. This numbingness, like combined, this numb feeling, and combined with this hurt, like so deep down, it can be so bad. I remember one time I walked. I sometimes like I walked home from school, and I had this feeling like of like I'm about to die, like not like an intense feeling, even though I've had those as well. Like this numb feeling, like it's so suffocating. This feeling is so suffocating that I'm about to die, or I'm about to do it myself because I cannot take it anymore. And I've had moments where I was also like, and during those times also, I remember going to Finland, because I always, when I go to Finland, I was like, yeah, this is a cool new thing. I always feel a bit different when I'm in Finland, like, oh, new country or whatever, even though I've been there a bazillion times. I always feel a little bit different. I remember when I was in my worst like year or 2 years or whatever, like worst time of my life, I went to Finland and I arrived at my mom's and sister's place, and I felt exactly, not even, usually there's like at least a little bit, I was hoping for like a little bit of a shift, just a tiny bit. There was no shift whatsoever. It was like I could have been parachuting down. I could have been doing the most adrenaline filled shit, and I felt nothing. I felt the same. And I remember arriving to Finland, to my mother's place, and I felt no difference than when I was in Estonia. And I was so hopeful to at least have a little bit of something. I felt nothing. And after I came to that realization, I went to the bathroom and I cried just for 5 minutes straight. It was like, I cannot take this numbness anymore. And it was all because I just did not want to have awareness of